What do you do with the Bitcoin besides it just gather value?
Real estate developers in New York City, they're not buying the real estate because they want to live in it.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay? Right, like, the point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura. Forever.
Right, I mean, right, but I mean, we can all look Bitcoin sort of as...
Forever, Laura. People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. 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 Okay?
This is the problem with not doing this all the time. You forget everything you have to do. It's a lot. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm back. So, summary of what I was saying. I'm liking the market setup right now. I'm liking that the Russell is outperforming. It was up 0.6% on the day. Let me just pull that up here real quick. We'll go over that while we're looking. If it loads, let's see here. We're getting there. It's getting closer. Maybe. Come on. Load the screen. I sometimes wonder why I pay for a 5 gig down and upload when I can't even get it to work half the time. There we go. Okay. So here's what I wanted to show. We're up about 0.59% on the day here with the Russell. The cool thing is we're still establishing support levels above the fib, the .236. That's beautiful. It's what we want to see. It's above the 50, the 200 weekly moving average, the 50, the 100. It just looks beautiful. And I think we're getting ready to rock it up. And I love that this one performed better than the NASDAQ, which is up, I believe, about 0.2-ish% on the day, if this ever loads. And then, okay, whatever. I'm right here, bro. And then, oh, come on. For real? All right. And as you can see, NASDAQ up 0.23%, setting new daily highs. You can't hate that. But I like that the Russell's actually outperforming right now. Let's look at the S&P. The S&P, if it fucking loads, was up today, like 0.06% or something like that. which is again what we want to see. We want to see the S&P outperforming as well. And maybe I just need to do a heat map or something. We'll see. We'll skip it. We'll go over macro stuff and then see if this comes back later. I don't know why it's so bad. Can you explain the tightening wedge and what it means in general? Saw a retweet regarding SoFi. Oh yeah, it was just a descending wedge, and it indicates that there's most likely going to be a breakout. We can go over that a little bit here too. All right, real quickly with the portfolio, I sold Tesla calls today. Didn't sell a ton. Sold a little bit, probably like I don't know, 20K, maybe 25,000 worth. Still close to 1.1 million, I think, in calls. Let's see here. Yeah, probably a little over 1.1 million when I factor in what I have for my other accounts. So it's probably about 1.1 million. I am starting to buy some shares now too with some of the money. So as I'm converting out, I purchased today. Let's see what I got. I got PayPal, January 2026 calls. I got some DLO. Don't overthink that though. As I said in here, it's less than 1% of my portfolio. I'm just averaging down. Could be totally wrong. It's 1%. I don't give a shit. So don't follow me just because I do things. But yeah, so that's sitting pretty good too, I think. And let me see. I think I have more in here too. No, that might be it. I think that's the last update. I did want to say here, somebody asked me why I would sell 25% of my Tesla calls by the time we hit like close to 300. And I just told them, so I'm getting closer to 300%. I'm about 250%, maybe 240 or 30 or something right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to be 400 to 500 at least by the 290s. If you haven't taken, I don't know, a quarter of your profits when you're up 400 or 500%, and basically you're locking in all the money that you put into the investment. I don't know. I think that's proper risk management personally, which is why I do that. And so that's why I would look to be at least 25% at that time. Well, let's see. Is there anything else notable here? We're seeing a pop in Flux. Flux was up today almost 10%. Don't know if that actually amounts to anything. We'll take a look at the news. DLO was up 4.22. I think this is just small caps rising, which is where Flux, this is kind of my bet on Flux and DLO, right? They're in the small cap category. They've been down for a long time. The bet is that they don't stay down for long and that they start to scream higher. And if Flux is remotely a good company, if Rex is remotely right about that, it's going to do really well. Again, Tesla made more money today. Calls ended up kind of flat. So I'm a little, almost 800,000 in profits on my Tesla calls from a little over a month ago. Probably over the last couple of months is probably a fair statement because I bought a little higher and just kept averaging down. But, I'll take almost $1 million in, 30-ish days. Never hurts. But otherwise, I think PayPal is readying for a bounce. SoFi, I don't have any here. I do think SoFi is ready for a bounce. We'll go over that one a little bit too. I think Archie is ready for a bounce. I think Flux. I think DLO. I think the miners are consolidating. I hope they continue to drop. And I think Tesla is getting ready to go higher. I did want to point something out real quickly on Tesla. Then we'll get back to macro. So here's what I wanted to point out. I'm going to kill some of this here just because I got to get better at so we're grinding underneath the weekly over bought conditions, which is great. Here's what I'm excited about, though. If you look here, this is what I'm excited about. Not the fact that it was up 0.56 today. I don't give a shit about that. What I'm excited about is if when we look at this weekly, we see resistance, resistance, resistance. Couldn't even get to resistance on this trend line. Just painful from July of 2023 all the way, a year ago, almost. Just painful, like 10 and a half months of pain and suffering, right? But look at us now, above the 50, the 100, the 200 moving average, the fib level, peak volumes. It's and above this trend line, which I did this earlier. I must not have saved it. I'm going to do it right now. Is now a support zone for Tesla. So this is great. The fact that we're still grinding up here. We do have this quick run to fill this gap, the last big gap that we have in Tesla, right around the 290 range. I think it's 289. That'll be an area where I was saying, if we get up to the 289 range, I'll probably be at least 20% sold out of my calls. I don't think that's crazy. It covers all of my cost. So that's about 15% from here, or about a 50% increase. So I should have at least 1.6 million in gains, maybe 1.7 million in gains by the time we get to that level. So being 25% out sounds pretty smart to me. All right. So macro calendar. Today, nothing. We didn't really have anything at all. If I switch this to the 1-star for importance levels, we had consumer inflation expectations. They came in line. Consumer credit, don't really care. So there's nothing really big coming up outside of lots of Fed talk tomorrow and Wednesday. We got Powell talking twice. We got Barr. We got Bowman. We got Bowman again. We got Goolsby. We got Cook. So we're going to see what they're doing. If they're going to start wordsmithing towards rate cuts, I think they will, because I think everything is pushing them towards that. And we'll go over more of that in a second here when we look at the CME Fed Watch tool. Now, so those are big. Those are Tuesday and Wednesday. That might move markets, or at least maybe start to position them in the right direction, I believe. Now, Thursday and Friday, we start to get inflation-related data, CPI and PPI, which is the producer price index, like the cost that producers are having to pay versus what they're passing on to the consumers, and just the inflation rate in general. So this should be a fun end of the week, I think. I'm very excited about it. And I think it could be positive. I think people are expecting so many bad things and they're just not getting them. Now, July still looks like it's off the table. I think it probably is off the table, but I wouldn't ignore the fact that the Fed might want to try and be proactive. And so they might want to defy expectations here and potentially lower by 25 bips and say, hey, we don't have to, but we're going to. And really they have to, or should. They should be. Now, if they don't, and it's just waiting till September, that means 9 weeks from now, we have a roughly 76% chance of getting one rate cut or two. Okay? So that's pretty important. The market's going to front run this. If we're going to get an explosive upside, it's going to be before the rate cut, I believe, and they're going to start pricing the rate cut in for September. So I think the next couple of months, I'm thinking the next 9 weeks are going to be very interesting towards the positive. Now, I wanted to talk about something else, fear and greed. And the crypto market is like in fear. I don't even know. It might be extreme fear. Let me see. Crypto fear and greed index. Let's see here. I should probably have this somewhere anyway. There we go. I'm going to put you over here. All right. So the crypto fear and greed index has us in fear territory. Not extreme fear, but getting borderline close to it. A drop under 25 would get us there. The important thing to note, we don't spend a lot of time down here in a bull market. If you go over here to March or May of 2020, look at this. We're actually lower in the fear rank right now than we were of all of the bull market of 2020 into 2021. Right? All of it. Up until the very collapse of it at about mid-2021 to into 2021. So I think that says a lot. It says that we're pretty oversold and fearful, which I love. I also love that we're still in neutral in the stock market right now when we've seen the S&P and NASDAQ continue to establish new daily highs on the regular. It's pretty awesome. Very excited about it. Again, real quickly, I won't play the music for this, but it says small cap investors after seeing IWM finally outperform the S&P. I think you're going to see more of this. I think you're going to see these small cap guys just screaming. I don't want to get demonetized or I play the song because I do kind of like it. But I think you're going to see small cap guys, they're going to get excited. Zero Hedge had a comment. He said, next month, for the first time since October of 2020, the world will officially enter net easing. In time, a fresh avalanche of money printing will follow. And so what he's showing here is the monthly number of global policy rate hikes. You can see they're over. What this doesn't show is cuts, and we're seeing those coming in mass. I'm hoping to get you a good chart with that. So I just put easing is coming equals lower rates are coming and more money printing to offset potential deflation in the future. Again, I think there's countries that are arguably very much heading towards deflation, including China. China's got it rough, and so I think you're going to see more money printing to offset it, and you're going to see rates getting lowered to try and restart these economies. And the ones that can be restarted, I think will, at least for a while, have an opportunity to keep running. And I think the U.S. is going to be one of the best because we're the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry. Remember that. Thanks for the stream, Jesse. Lowe's 94. You are welcome. Let's see. Can you explain tightening wedge? Yeah, I will. So BT2, I'll talk about the SoFi's tightening wedge and a bunch of these others. Drew S says, if you could only place one asymmetric trade today, what would it be? Dude, my brain does not work that way, dude. But it would probably be like, again, Tesla. I'm already in it. I'm up almost 220% right now is what this says. So that asymmetric bet I've already taken, and I'm well into the run. But I would say probably Bitcoin related asymmetric bets first and foremost if I was entering today. And then I would say things like ARKG, PayPal, and if you have a small position of your portfolio that you want to play around with, maybe some Flux and some DLO just for like the small cap type thing. They might be opportunities. SoFi could be an opportunity for 2026, maybe with some calls in the not too distant future. Because again, it is tightening in that range, just like ARKG and these others, and there are asymmetric opportunities for upside within them. So I don't know. That's probably not a bad deal. Jesse, Tesla call suggestion above if you don't mind. So Tesla call suggestion. I don't know what you mean by above. Would you do that if you're lower strike because less risk? Okay, let me read what you said here. Disease Kodak. You said, Jesse, will you hold only any Tesla calls to expiration? James from Invest Answers says that's how he plays his calls. I never do that. I always sell beforehand. I hope to average between 600 and 1,000% returns on my calls. So I'm hoping to have that kind of return on average. I would love to have at least 1,000%, maybe 1,100, 1,200%. Because if I can take 370,000 and turn it into like 4 million, that would be cool, especially with just one of my bets, right? But I'd even take 600% and just make a couple million. I would take that too. But I don't hold them to the end. I don't see much point because you have, and I made this options video and you guys should watch it. It's Options 101. I said I was going to include it in the last one. I don't think I did, but I'll try and remember today. But essentially it talks about how the curve at the end of options expirations becomes really drastic. And so the time erodes the value of your option very, very quickly. So unless you have tons of intrinsic value, and what that means is extrinsic is the time, right? Like you've got time-based value. If you have little extrinsic value left on your option anymore, but you're very much in the money, then and you've got tons of intrinsic value, which means the actual value between the difference that you pay for the contract and the amount that you sell it for, then it's not worth holding on to. And I love, like, that's the thing. If I've got a lot of time, and I've got tons of intrinsic value because I'm already, like, let's say deep in the money. Let's say I blow past 330. Let's say Tesla goes to 400 and I've got like $70 a share in profit. I've also got a massive amount of extrinsic time-based value that will erode away. So why hold it to the end? Why not get that intrinsic value and the extrinsic based on the momentum? And when you start to see it wane or see, like, overbought conditions, why wouldn't you get the fuck out of that and start averaging into Tesla stock? That's the way I look at it. All right. This is a great thing for America because excess. All right, so this right here, I wanted this post from Liz Ann Saunders. I love her. She said, for the first time in more than 60 years, U.S. energy production is higher than the U.S. energy consumption. This is important. Again, I don't mind shitting on Biden. The man is fucking senile and barely even conscious. But you gotta recognize truth when it comes up, even if it doesn't align with your political beliefs. We are producing more energy than we're consuming, and it's not just wasted. So this is good. This is good for America. We want this. We want to keep doing this. We want whoever comes next, it's probably going to be Trump, especially if Biden stays in the race. We want them to continue this. We want excess energy. We want a lot of power because power equates almost wholly towards wealth in some form or another. All right. Kyle Bass, very conservative dude. Hates the CCP, loves Taiwan. Okay? All right, this guy, he said, the French bond market is at odds with the far left running the kingdom. French bond spreads are heading towards European crisis highs, with the crazies proposing a 90% marginal tax rate. I'll invite Art Laffer to Paris for a teach in how that will work out for them. It would not be good. I don't know. I pray for France. I pray for a lot of European countries. They're the source of their own problems. and too much illegal immigration, especially from people that don't align with your world views. Like, we have it easy in the United States. I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here. We have it better in the United States with our illegal immigration. Why, you ask? The majority of the illegal immigrants that are coming in are Hispanic in nature. Now, they're not all Hispanic. There's a lot of other ethnicities and maybe some bad guys coming in, including Hispanics, right? But I'd say the vast majority of them are just people looking for a better life. And what's great about that is that a lot of them are Christian and they're fairly conservative when you look at them, versus other parts of the world. And why do I say that's a good thing? I'm not even religious, but here's why it's a good thing. You don't want people that are extremely difficult, or I shouldn't say difficult, different from you, coming in mass and flooding over your borders, like at 5% of your population, 10% of your population in a few years, especially if they have a lot of kids, because if they do, what your society is could be overrun and it could start to change, especially in European countries and places where birth rates are really, really low. So you create a lot of problems when you have just unmitigated immigration. I really worry about Europe. I'm less worried about the United States. I think some of the illegal immigration might actually end up turning out to be all right, as long as it stops. I think it has to fucking stop right now. And we have to get it under control and we have to start regulating it. But I don't think America has all these problems that you're going to see in Europe because they don't have people that are like drastically different and that maybe want to overthrow their version of society. So they don't have it great, but we don't have that problem. So let's rejoice. All right, Seth Golden. That's my tangent for now. Seth Golden, record amount of credit card debt, which has grown by 20% since 2019. People like to talk about this. The bears will tell you that, right? Oh, record credit debt, guys. It's such a record. It's 20% higher than 2019. What they don't tell you is that there's a record amount of household net worth, which has grown by 40%. So it's doubled the rate of growth versus the credit card debt, which is a fucking good thing. Now, debt as a share of net worth is near record level lows. That's also representative of the fact that debt is not rising at the rate that wealth is. Now, don't get me wrong, the top 2/3 of Americans are the ones that are benefiting from this. The bottom 1/3, if you're in that category, you are getting fucked. But it doesn't matter. The economy doesn't give a shit. All right. He also put, you're worried about headlines. You should be worried about your math skills. I would agree, Seth. Thank you for that. I love it. Ryan Detrick said, why are stocks up so much this year? Forward earnings expectations continue to move up. That's why he's saying that we're seeing this. And it's true. If earnings expectations for the next 12 months continue to go up on average across the S&P, the NASDAQ, even the Russell, probably more the S&P and the NASDAQ right now, then you're going to see stocks go up. It's crazy how that works. They make more money, the prices go up. So and people will bitch about market breadth, but today, on a day where the Russell gets 0.6% when the S&P is pretty flat and the NASDAQ's only up 0.2, I'll say maybe we're starting to see market breadth, and I've been saying that for a while. All right, Quentin said money supply is about to explode to the upside. He's showing M2, which is just, again, money flowing throughout the economy without making it too complicated. You could see how in parts of 2023 heading into 2024, we were in a trough. We were going down, but now we're curving up. And when the money printer goes burr, assets go up in value. So don't be so worried about your Bitcoin. All right. DLO looks to have found a floor. I hope so. We'll see. All right. Seth Golden said again, my favored long-term, I'm going to say favorite. I don't know. Maybe he's wording it right, and I'm just not good at English. I only went to high school for a year and a half, so we'll give it to Seth. Cumulative net new highs briefly looked like it wanted to turn lower, but then broke higher. For now, this still informs the long-term trend remains bullish and resistant to bearish notions and or nonsense. I would agree. Net new highs are going up. We don't hate that. So let's see where we go from there. This is Jerome Blockland said, Germany has lost its status as a manufacturing powerhouse. So what does it have left? That is a great question. This is, to me, is what happens when you become bedfellows with China. We did it years ago, right? We did it years ago. We let our manufacturing base go to shit. And and they're letting kind of the same thing happen again. So they're going to get crushed. I don't see how they come back with the auto sector, especially because they need China more than China needs them, and China's got an abundance of excess auto. So Germany is pretty fucked. UK is pretty fucked. France is pretty fucked. Are you seeing a pattern here? I want better things for them, but they have to want it too. Game of trades. This guy is very much a bear. He's been bearish for like the last 2 years. I made 700% last year. I'm only down by 11 or 12% right now for this year, sitting at about 2.9 million in my trades. Whereas before I got to a high of almost 3.3. But anyway, I made 700% last year, which was very nice. And if I would have listened to this guy, I wouldn't have made that. But there's truth in, I mean, he still looks at data points, even if you can't analyze them right. So I want to talk about it. Game of trades, breaking. U.S. office vacancy rate is near 20%. This is the highest level since 2006. Truly insane. So this is commercial, though. And we know it's a fucking shit show. Everybody knows it's a fucking shit show. It wasn't a catalyst to what happened within the real estate market in 2008. I don't think it's comparable. So, yes, it sucks. Yes, it could be problematic. I think it's all going to get absorbed by banks, and I'm not worried about it because the government's going to fund them. So, at least the ones that matter. All right, game of trades. Had another one. Warning. Trucking employment has been declining aggressively. This has been a precursor to recession since 1991. I think this is a legit argument, and that's why I wanted to put it up here. I do think that we can't see this roll over much more than it is. It can go down a ways, don't get me wrong. If you look back over here, by the time we got to, 2008 or whatever, again, we were lower than the levels we're looking at right now. And by the end of 2008, I mean, this thing was real low. So if we can stabilize here, it's going to look better. But also, I don't know that trucking is the end-all, be-all right now for the economy, because we still have so many fucking rich people. The top 2/3 are just so much wealthier than they were before. We've got corporations with tons of money to do buybacks. We've got $6.2 trillion in record money market funds. There's just a lot of good stuff, guys. So don't give up yet. But I do want to monitor this. I think it's a smart thing to watch. Rajat Soni, certified accountant, says real estate does not go up in value over time. The currency we use to value it goes down in value over time. Most people don't understand this. I 100% agree with this and just wanted to put it out there. I could have put it in the Bitcoin part, but really applies to everything. Why do we invest? For the most part, we do it to offset and gain value with excess money that we have because the system is designed to steal from us. And so if we invest in things that are scarce, like land, Bitcoin, gold, we can enrich ourselves in a system that fucks everybody who doesn't have assets. That's why we invest. That's why real estate goes up in value. It doesn't really. It just offsets what the government is doing to steal people's wealth who don't have assets. You have to have assets. If you don't understand this concept, fucking learn. Look up the definition of an asset. Own those things. It's not that hard. All right, Jesse Cohen. Like the old saying goes, the U.S. innovates, China replicates, and Europe regulates. That is so true. So true. And look at this. Our innovation has allowed us to outpace. So if you look at market capitalization of venture-backed companies valued at over $1 billion, why is China topped off since 2020, since the pandemic? Why is America exploding higher? I'll tell you why. It's called capitalism. It's called freedom. We might not be perfect at it, but we're better than fucking Europe, and we're better than fucking China. So, and China now is over. China's going to start curbing down. And Europe, I don't know. I pray for them. But when you overregulate, you fuck yourself. When you don't allow free markets to literally reward companies that build great products for potentially reduced costs, benefiting consumers and enriching all of us through the deflation that they create from better goods that are available to more people at cheaper prices. If you don't let that fucking play out, and you get the government involved and you overregulate and you let the government decide winners and losers when they can't even figure out a good fucking president, you're gonna have a country that's falling apart. I don't plan on having one of those. So I'm going to elect people that work hard to make it to where we're the best version of ourselves. Compounding Quality said, he did a quote from Warren Buffett. It says, Warren Buffett, you will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. I need to work on this myself. So I just block people that piss me off because then I don't have to worry about it. But in real life, you can't do that. So that's the part I got to work on. But it says true power is sitting back and observing things with logic. True power is restraint. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. Now, in the investment world, I can follow this to a T. In real life, I suck at it, but I'm working on it. But you have to be good at this in the investment world. If you're emotional and you don't work hard to keep those emotions in check, you're fucked. So remember this. Live by this. Also, if you're here, for the 300 plus people, can you chat with each other, whatever, to help support this channel? It would be greatly appreciated. Caleb Franzen, my buddy, he says, highest daily close of all time. He's talking about the S&P. This is from July 5th, last Friday. Highest weekly close of all time. It's almost like we're in a bull market. I'm almost getting tired of saying it. Just kidding. Fuck the bears. 100% agree with you. Bears waiting for the inevitable stock market crash. This is Mr. Bean. If you don't know who Mr. Bean is, look it up. It's pretty true. Look at him down here. He's like laying on the ground by this one. So he's up here. He's looking at his watch. He's sitting in a field. He's laying down and taking a nap. You bears better lay down and fucking take a nap. Because I don't know if you're getting up again. All right. German government doesn't work on the weekends. That's not true. They actually dumped a bunch. Let me see if there's anything else here. Whatever. We're moving on. I'm tired of this shit. All right. Let me see what we got here. Bitcoin. Let's go Bitcoin. Let's go Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin before we get into this. All right. 1 second here. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're doing this again. What is up? This has got to be TradingView. This is bullshit. All right. We're going to let that load. Let that load and jump back over here. All right, the German government has officially burned through over half of its original Bitcoin stack. Their holdings now stand at 23,800. So the German government has already burned through about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin sold out of the 2 billion that they hold in their stack. So we're already halfway through the pain, guys. So you just have to keep note that, right? Note that it's almost over, and honestly, it wasn't even that bad. Watch Guru said, just in, government sells 17,000 BTC. This is today. He said this a couple hours ago. Worth $951 million. Its largest single day liquidation. Somebody said, Elja said, did you spot something similar? Or do you spot something similar? He's talking about over here. Kind of. This is a broadening wedge, a descending broadening wedge. Or a triangle, or a descending triangle, probably, honestly. I should draw that out. But not quite the same, but similar principle. It's probably at the bottom. And Caleb's just showing the same thing. He's saying, hey, guys, it looks kind of bull flaggy. I agree. This is really important. This is super important. This is why Republicans are going to have my vote. You guys got my vote again. You lost it last time. You got it again. I'm on your side. And I'll probably stay with it if this is the path you go down on all your policies, which is towards freedom. It says breaking 2024 Republican Party platform. So they wrote all this out. It sits over here. You can read the whole thing, right? But here's what it says. It says they're going to defend the right to mine Bitcoin. They're going to defend self-custody of digital assets. They're going to transact free from government surveillance and control. Think of no CBDCs too, right? They're going to end unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown. So think the SEC and some of the bullshit with the CFTC, but they were better. They're going to oppose the creation of a CBDC. This is the platform that will win this election. Believe me, it is it. This is the one that wins. So if you're not on this, you're the losing party. I don't care what your politics are. I really don't give a shit about politics anyway. Carl Minger wrote, breaking, the German government has sold 5,200 worth, 279, whatever. This is more stuff we already know. I don't know if there's much else here. Yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah, right here. Quentin, he said, Bitcoin hasn't seen the red zone since this cycle. I don't think the bull market has even started yet. I wouldn't say that. We're about 50% through, but the last 50% is fucking awesome. Anyway, Bitcoin, this is the MBRV Z-score. There's a few that are kind of like this too. And again, we hit the red zone last time, so we just crept into it and then we dropped. But again, I think that cycle got neutered. But this is such a great indicator. If you literally sold at every one of these points when we'd entered the red, you would have done really well. Maybe here you would have needed to wait to the upper part of the red for these cycles to have really done well because there was just so much push at the end. But you would have outperformed markets. If you sell here in the red and you buy here in the green every cycle, guys, look at this. Every fucking cycle, you win. This is how I've made more money off my Bitcoin than just holding it. It's this right here. There's other ones that are great too. This is the best in my opinion. All right, I wanted to point out that MetaPlanet bought another 400 million worth of Bitcoin. What is it? Japan's MetaPlanet adds 42.46 BTC worth 400 million to their portfolio. Kind of a big deal. You got Germany selling out. You got companies gobbling up all their fucking Bitcoin. Just one company took 40% of the Bitcoin they were selling. That's kind of special. Also, here's the cycles, right? Here's the cycles. This is where we are. If you looked at the historic cycles since the halving date, would this be where you fucking sell? Would this be it? Should you sell here? This is a test of your intelligence level. That's what this is. Because if you can wait 3 more fucking months, you're going to be a lot better. You'd be at like 90K in 3 months. If we do the shittiest version of this. If you wait 250 days, you're looking at vastly more money. If you can wait a year, you could be up here, guys. You could be up here. So have patience. Don't be little bitches. Learn as much as you can. And suck it up. Vivek. $2 billion versus of gold versus $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Imagine you have, I don't know, over $200 billion. Imagine you're Michael Dell and you have over $100 billion. Would you buy 2%, take 2% of your wealth and put it in gold, or does it make more sense to have it in Bitcoin? Just from a logistics standpoint, let alone insuring, transportation, risk of not being able to get it out of the country, all the fun stuff. Yeah, I mean, maybe own a little bit of this, but as much as you can carry in a backpack. All right. I put, this is on July 7th, just the other day. I put, it'll be a violent upside price action. All this is talking about how Quentin said there's $12 billion waiting to get liquidated towards the upside. This will be rocket fuel. As the leveraged longs, the people that are putting multipliers behind what they're trying to get for Bitcoin returns get wiped out, they're going to eventually take away all downside incentives. And so when Germany's done selling, the Mt. Gox people, they're not even selling much. They're not going to sell much, man. Not at all. Because they're smart enough. They've been in this game for over a decade. They don't want to fucking get out now. They know when to sell. So you'll remove all incentive for downside price action, and you'll create rocket fuel to the upside. And if you want to know what that looks like, I don't know. Maybe look at Tesla and what it's done since April of 22nd of 2024. Look at this. Since April, it was at 138, and now it's at 254. That seems pretty good, and Bitcoin can do that in spades. Okay? Let's jump over here. Did our chart finally fucking load? Hey, it did. Congrats. All right, I got to adjust some of these lines. I got to fix all this chart. Eventually. Maybe I'll do some of it right now. All right, so again, what I love, and somebody was talking about, I don't know if it was the monthly or weekly. Let me jump over here real quick and just take a look. Was it the daily? Oh, it was the daily. somebody was talking about how Bitcoin has crossed under the 200 daily moving average. This does not scare me at all. In fact, I hope it stays under here. I would love for it to stay under here. My biggest fear is that it will not. But I do hope that it does. If it does break down, we could see a floor like around the 52 range, something like that. There's literally no leveraged longs to really get rid of under sub 52. There's nobody placing bets. So what I see happening is I see a consolidation. We're already seeing a higher low in Bitcoin's price action on the daily RSI. We're seeing the same thing on the MACD. We're getting ready to curl up. That's my take. And if I look at the weekly, I don't know. I'd say for a bull market, we're as oversold as we need to be. We're as oversold as we need to be. And oversold. And what I mean by that is we're not going down to 30. We're not. We're in a bull market. That doesn't happen. So if you look over here, if you look outside of outside of a pandemic event that locks everybody in their house and where we're all dying, we're not going to see that. We're just not. Because even here in March 2020, we didn't even get down on the weekly to 33. We couldn't even get under 33, let alone 30. And that was a global pandemic where everybody thought they were dying. So, or at least I should say, all the liberals thought they were dying and the conservatives were pissed about losing their freedoms. That's kind of what happened there. Turns out the conservatives were probably right. They were the ones that were closest. Who knew? I honestly didn't at the time. Should have. All right. Let's see. Is anything else interesting here that I really want to talk about? Yeah, whales are accumulating Bitcoin. The wallets holding, so this is July 6th, 2 days ago. It says wallets holding 10,000 plus BTC have reached their highest level in 6 years. Look at this. Look at where we are right now. The whales understand that now is the time to buy, and so they're taking full advantage of it. Also, I posted something about Solana that I got from DGen News. It says, Solana overpowers Ethereum and Arbitrum combined in 24-hour DEX volume. So at $1.81 billion. That is shocking to have them do better than Ethereum and Arbitrum combined. Solana is strong right now. It's also bouncing really hard and looking great. Let's just see where it is. Let's see if we can find Sol on here. Solana. And also, guys, Bitcoin dominance is dropping just like I said it was. This is a great time. So 139, what are we at? 139-ish, something like that, 140 right now. This is a good price for Solana. The price action, to me, looks wonderful. And I can see us going up a lot. Just look at how these are doing today. Most of them, they're outperforming. And I love that. We're seeing small caps outperform. We're seeing crypto altcoins outperform for the first time in a while. That screams to me that we're going higher. Rec Capital had this one. I thought it was a good chart. It just shows support levels, and it says that we really want to hold like the 57-ish range on Bitcoin. Right now, we're at 56,336. So we would like to see this going higher. Again, maybe we grind down to sideways. I would love that. Just remember, I'm super biased right now. I want Bitcoin to drop while I'm making shit tons of money off of Tesla, and potentially maybe altcoins are popping and small caps are popping, because I do really well if small caps pop, because I have DLO, I got Flux, I've got these really beat up sectors like ArcG, PayPal. So I do really well if we see this push towards risk. And I think that that's what might happen. And if Bitcoin can't hold this level, I'm okay with that. I want to see these things drop so that I can buy more while I'm making shit tons of money and other things. All right, I think that's it for that. Let's jump over. I wanted to show this. So let's jump into Tesla real quick, and then we'll get into my other stocks, and then we'll go from there. So here's what I wanted to show here. This is really important. This is global inventory for Tesla. And what you need to look at here is that S and X inventories are plummeting. In purple, we've got the X at 5,000 in June of 2024. Now we're already down to 2,200. So we've seen a 55, almost 60% reduction in inventory. Model S, 4672. Now down in the 1800s. So again, it's 60% reduction or more. We're seeing reductions in Model 3 inventory with that nice, beautiful refresh. We're seeing a lot of people taking up the Y from 6,000 levels to 3,900. So we're seeing inventories dropping. The sales are working. These lines are running efficiently. And we've got the Cybertruck right now sitting as the #1 selling EV truck in America. And I think that they're going to continue to do really good off of that. All right, Evan, real quick. He said Tesla shareholders will appear in court today to argue that an unprecedented request for more than $7 billion in attorney fees to be paid by the company to the lawyers who helped strike down Elon's $56 billion pay package. This is insane. This is a $370,000 an hour fee these lawyers are looking for. I would love that fucking hourly rate. There's no way that provides shareholder value for them getting millions and millions of shares of Tesla stock or cash to buy Tesla, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. It's stupid. They won't get it. If they get it, Delaware is truly fucked. And already I've been listening to the Delaware state government talking about this rogue judge who is fucking the state of Delaware. Really the only economy that Delaware has is legal. It's lawyers. It's incorporation in the state, and they're frightening people away from it. And I don't think that $7 billion goes anywhere. I think that's another catalyst for upside when that's removed. Also, Holmar's catalog pointing out that your Cybertruck can power your home when the power goes out. Isn't that fucking great? This guy in probably Florida, it looks like, or maybe in Texas, probably in Texas, the way the hurricane's going, is saying that they're in the middle of a hurricane and lost power, but the house is running off of their Cybertruck. How fucking cool is that? Tell me that's not the future. The son of Waki, love this guy. He's still in the red, but he's so persistent. And eventually he's going to have to take that gas mask or that breathing apparatus off of his face because he's going to be good. His hopium. But he says 31 billion worth of Tesla shares are being shorted right now. And that is per Ortex. I don't have Ortex anymore, but somebody else had a chart about it. So that is a huge amount of short interest that's going to get walloped. I already said this one. Basically, we're above the previous resistance line, and I think we're going to turn it into support. This is cool. I'm going to play this real quick. This is Mr. Beast, in case you don't know him. He's a small YouTuber, and he's just talking about Starlink and how it's helping people in Zambia, parts of Africa, with high-speed internet access that they didn't have before. The financials and the communication, the education in Africa is going to get so much better from this. And education and energy are the two key drivers towards making successful civilization. So I think this is huge for Africa, and I love it. And I'm bringing this up in the Tesla segment because everything ties between Elon's companies, and this success is huge in ways that you don't even know yet.
But there was one more thing that was severely impacting Dora's ability to take care of these kids. In order to upload a TikTok, Dora would have to stand for hours holding her pole up to get an internet connection. But now with the new solar grid, we can put in a brand new Starlink Wi-Fi router.
That has literally been installed today, and I am super happy and super excited about that. We can connect to it together for the first time.
Lights on. Now it's connected.
This is such a cool thing, and as the hardware costs come down, we're going to see Starlink satellites all over the world providing internet to people that didn't have it before. And these people will have a wealth of knowledge. I didn't learn anything from high school or junior high, and I was in one of the richest countries in the world. But you know where I've learned a lot? YouTube and the internet. And it's changed my life and made me rich in more ways than I can count. And this is just really cool. This is really cool, and there's going to be more of this in the future. I love that Elon Musk here, too, said that SpaceX will colonize Mars, because it will be SpaceX. It will be SpaceX. It won't be America. It won't be China. It won't be Russia. It won't be India. It will be SpaceX. And he'll be representing, again, beliefs of, places like the USA, but and maybe it ends up being a huge part of the USA. as we pay a fortune in taxpayer dollars to help make this happen. I don't know. But for sure, SpaceX will be the leader in it. My buddy Q, he posted, analysts still valuing Tesla by the number of cars sold will end up looking like those who valued Amazon by the number of books sold. For years, people used to do that. And AWS is like 80% of the business anymore. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Now, so yeah, value it the right way. You should. Now, I want to say this too, because people, once you start to get into six-figure cars, guys, you start to realize that these supercars are not worth their money. I was looking at a Ferrari SF90, really just loved that car, the appearance of it, right? But when I look at it and I watch YouTube videos from people that own it, it sucks. It sucks. The doors don't open well. You can't be parked next to anybody. It's not comfortable to sit in. It's not practical in any way, especially for somebody like me who's mid 40s. And then you look at this. This is a McLaren. This is a $300,000 car. Look at this. Keep in mind that this car has less than 40 miles on it.
Check this out. This is a 2022 McLaren 720S with only 43 miles. And I pulled the engine cover off, and look at this. This bolt was just sitting here. So I'm gonna put that little guy back in and check the other side. Oh, look at that, it's loose. I know what you're thinking, a couple loose bolts, no big deal, right? Well, let's check over the rest of the car. The washers under these bolts are rusted. Like literally the car got PDI'd at the dealership on a transporter truck and brought right over here. Only has 43 miles. We got a little bit of panel gap here. Yeah, no big deal, but this is the worst part. Check this out. When the door is opened, only on the passenger side, it is literally touching the body, guys. Check this out. It is touching the body. The other side has got like a 1-inch gap or something like that, but the passenger side, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Now the driver's side door doesn't have that gap, but when you close the door, watch this. It grabs the seal, it like pulls it back. Do you see that? It pulls that seal back. Check this out. This is a 2022.
How fucking depressing is that? This thing has literally screws missing from it, not tightened down, rusting out. One door that's scraping up against the paint of the car, the other door that's rubbing up against the rubber that helps seal it. It's not great. Gorgo says, Jesse, that's why I bought a Lotus Emira. I love the Emira. I actually wanted to get that. I ended up going with the Cybertruck because it's just so much more practical for me being in the Midwest, and I love the technology behind Tesla. And steer-by-wire is something I could never go away from again. But the Emira is a beautiful car. I always wanted it in the light blue. It's a very beautiful car. And honestly, why pay $300,000 or $1 million for a supercar that is just like worse put together than something from Tesla or a Lotus Emira? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to spend outrageous amounts on these cars. They're not that great. It's just for show. And I can tell you, way more people looking at my Cybertruck than looking at, any of these things nowadays, including this McLaren. Like, the McLaren will get some attention, but the Cybertruck, it just gets more. I can just tell you that. After owning it for over 2 months, I've had this thing for like 10 weeks now, and I still get so much attention. This little kid yesterday with his mother, this little Hispanic dude, came up to my car. He's probably like 11 or 12, just a little older than my daughter. And he was losing his mind, and he asked if he could look at it, and I let him look at it, and his mom was talking to me. And then at the end, the kid was getting ready to leave, and I was like, hey, man, you have a good day. And he's like, I think I'm going to cry. The kid told me he was going to cry. He was so emotional the entire time, but he was so excited about this. You could tell it was like a dream being built in the back of his brain, and it's cool. It's so cool. Adults don't get it. Old people don't get it. People who love the roar of the engine don't get it. But kids get it, and they're the future. And it's so much so they want to cry. It blew my fucking mind. But it was beautiful to see. Open Sky says no new Model Y refresh. I know there was some speculation about this for 2024. Not 2024, 2025. It's going to be, Juniper's going to be a beautiful, beautiful revamp. I think it looks better than the 3 even. Definitely, I would probably upgrade the Y for that. Let's see. Yeah, so Tom Lee is
maybe 280.
Tom Lee is revising his estimates higher for the S&P to 5,800 now. And there's other companies that are literally saying we're not giving any more estimates for the S&P because they're just tired of setting them and having them be wrong, which is funny. Again, Tesla bears are getting burnt because you got record short interest. It's going to come down on them in a big way. It's already been fucking them, but it's going to fuck them real hard. There's something I'm looking for. All right, so yeah, next year there's the Model Y Juniper. You already know it's out. That's great. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can find representation of this. This is great. This shows the difference between Tesla chargers and the Electrify America. That's not really what I'm looking for, though. And this is great, too. The number of supercharger locations between 2016 and now, fucking crazy. I might have shown some of this before. I'm trying to find one thing. Oh, I can't find it. I wanted to show... Oh, maybe it's... No. I wanted to find... I must not have bookmarked it well, or the bookmarks are sucking. Oh, right here. Look at SpaceX. Look at Starlink's satellites over time. Look at this. Look at what's happened with Starlink satellites between like 2019 and today. Look at this. This is insane. This is fucking crazy. Let me just go back here. I got to go back. Look at this. From here, September of 2019. So 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Less than 5 fucking years. Look at what's happened. Look at that. Starlink is everywhere. And now they're doing cellular. They've got over 100 satellites that are cellular satellites. I would say in the next year, they open a program to be able to basically, for probably in the United States first, where you can change your provider from Verizon, from T-Mobile, from all these other fucking companies to Starlink. And I'm going to do it. This is just, again, this isn't Tesla, but you just have to realize that all these different technologies are blending to each other. So it's all coming together, guys. It's all coming together. This is the company you want to invest in. It's one of the best in the world. All right, so let's look at other stuff here. We've had some interesting days. Let's just dial through the line of other stocks. Actually, before we get to that, let's look at a few other things from the macro side. Dollar, flat. Nothing really happening here. Could go up, could go down. I think we're just going to trend for a while. And maybe we do go up, but I'm not looking for anything major. Gold, boring as fuck. What is it up? Oh, hey, wait. Oh, it's up 22.5%. Almost 23%. And how many years? When is this? 2011? 13 years? Huh. That's a long time to get 22%. But I say that all the time, so maybe someday I'll stop shitting on it. Doubt it. Really doubt it. All right, so I'm gonna redraw something here because I think it's gonna make more sense this way. I think I need to turn this. This was an old channel, but I think it's breaking down now and turning into a resistance. Sometimes you have to maneuver things around to get it to where they make sense again. And I think this makes sense. I think we've hit a key resistance level, and we're more likely to break down. And I was saying this last week, and that hasn't changed much now. I think oil is dropping lower. Move index. Again, this is the bond volatility index. I was saying that we needed to start seeing this coming down. I like where it's coming. I don't want to see it establish support here. I want to see us break underneath like the 97 level. That would make me happier, but it's really nice that we've got this tweezer top like we had over here. So maybe we can start testing lower. I would love to see us get like towards the 80s. I do think we're establishing a range here. I'll show you that. I think like maybe here, and then we've got maybe a supportive range. It's like a channel almost right here. So I do think that we could see a breakdown and maybe testing into like the 79 range in the move, which is great. If bonds are stabilizing, that's good for stocks and risk on assets. All right, the U.S. government 2-year bond. Again, I've been saying this for a while. I think this is getting ready to roll over. I think we're getting ready to drop on this rate. And if the rate's dropping, that means more people are buying into the 2-year bond. to me, this just looks like it wants to roll over. It looks like a left shoulder head, right shoulder, kind of pathetically flat. Or another way to maybe represent this that's better is like this. It's like a rising wedge, right? And I will even draw it like this. It's like a rising wedge. It's not broadening, which means it's even more likely to break down. And we're looking to roll down underneath of this thing. This would be indicative of what would be happening in the move index. The move index would be dropping with this. And again, this would be great for stocks. Having the bond, having the 2-year rollover would be great for stocks as far as the rate goes. And that means that we'll start to see a bounce in the stock market. All right, let me see what else I got real quick here, and then I'll check out chat. The inversion. How are we doing on the 2-year inversion? I said this the other day. We needed to start breaking down again and going lower. We're doing that. I love it. Let's see how the yen's holding up against the dollar. The dollar's getting stronger. It's tough on the yen, but we'll see what happens with it. We are kind of in a range where if we break higher, we've got a little bit of space, right? We've got a little bit of space here with this huge gap. So we could see more room for this to be able to run before it becomes a crazy problem between that gap. Now, I do think the yuan is continuing to deteriorate, and this is not good from a technical standpoint. If we go back and look here at the yuan, this is China, right? So if we look at the yuan, this is bad. This right here is an ascending triangle. This is likely to break higher, and you can see that in this price action. So it needs to roll over. The fact that it's had plenty of opportunity to roll over is very indicative of the fact that this cannot roll over. And instead, I would argue that it should almost even be drawn like this, where it's way ahead, where it's got like tons of space to go before it really broke down. And so this is just screaming of strength to me, this line up here, just continuous day after day. If we get up to this level, the 735 range, and break above it, I think it's going to be dramatic. You usually have to draw it like from the neck. Let's say the neck starts here. This would be a dramatic weakening of the yen, or the yuan, I'm sorry, and we would not want that. Our government has an incentive in the United States to not let this get too crazy. But the measured move would be 8. And it would be one of the worst levels we've seen on the Chinese yuan since going back to like 2006 versus the dollar. It would mark a massive amount of strength that the U.S. dollar has found against the Chinese yuan. China and the United States have reasons, and the rest of the world have reasons not to let this happen. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to try and make it not happen, right? Like everybody's involved in it, they're going to try and make it not happen. So the Russian ruble, still kind of like bleh. Russia's so fucked. I should probably do a video on that. Put call ratio, I haven't looked at it. Yeah, it's weakening. Virtually no puts. Like this is getting weak. This is great though. These times where the market is underneath here with the put call ratio are some of the best times for markets. So some of the best in history have occurred underneath of this. And it doesn't pay to have puts right now. I think it will in the future. It's not right now. All right, real quickly. I'm going to look. MicroStrategy, I think, had a decent day today. Yeah, 0.7%. Up 1%, including after hours. I think it's a good grindy zone. If you look here, we've got a good, since March of 2024 worth of price action. So a good quarter worth of price action, grinding above that level and trying to find support. And I think it's going to do that. I think Bitcoin's going up. Again, I hope it goes down. I don't have much else to say about any of these other tickers. They all look pretty strong across the whole market, including miners. So we'll skip them. PayPal. If we look over here, you can see how we're still trying to find support. We're down 1% today. I bought more calls. Hood was down almost 3% today. I still think it's heading to $30 really quickly. Let's jump to Palantir. I know there's a lot of Palantir people. Oh, that's not a Palantir. Palantir. Palantir did really great, up 1.73%. I think we're pushing towards that $30 level. I think 30 will be a tougher level to overcome. And there's reasons I say this, okay? I love Palantir. But I just got to be a realist. I got to call it like I see it. And this isn't just because I only have one share and I'm not in it. I've done very well off of Tesla. I have no complaints making almost $800,000 in the last, month plus. It's been nice. But, and this all looks great. These are beautiful charts. Net income's doing everything it needs to do. Almost 105 in net income for Q1 of 2024. Signing more contracts, positive cash flow, beautiful revenue versus, stock-based comp or any other levels. Tons of cash. What is it? $4 billion in cash and bonds. Just doing really great. And expenses remain low. Great company. But I've just got to say, the PE ratio is 218. The forward PE is 78. So once you start to cross into the 100 range, you get to a point where it's probably overvalued. Now, I could make that same argument with Tesla, actually, probably right now. But I just got to say, I think Tesla has more upside potential over the short term. Just because I think that people are underestimating how much money they're going to be making off of energy, how much money they're going to be making off subscriptions for FSD, how close they are to solving FSD, how much people are starting to realize that's impactful. Robotics, all the good news, 8.8 coming up. There's just narratives that are really going to be powerful for driving Tesla. So Tesla has a forward PE of 99. A lot of that is just, again, I think in a couple of weeks here when we have Tesla earnings, I think this forward PE will drop significantly and maybe get us under Palantir. So that's my thought process. But I do think, I think Palantir is short term, I guess I should say, just from a technical level. I think the one level is probably peaking. We're gonna be at overbought on the RSI for the this is the 3-day. Let me get to the weekly. We're gonna be there for the weekly too. So I think that would be a good place to stop. And again, this is still kind of a weird, rising trend that has potential to break down. Fundamentals will play a key part though. So personally, I would lighten the load at 30. I will be buying a lot of Palantir in the future though. Full disclosure, because I like it. We already did Hood. SoFi. SoFi, this is what somebody was talking about this. So all this is we're just seeing this tightening pattern underneath of here. We're under the 100 moving average on the weekly. We're under what was previous resistance, here, broke above it, turned it into support, broke down under resistance again. One could almost now that it's been this long, you could redraw this line. And maybe I'll do that real quick. So let me just unlock it. So SoFi is starting to look more like this. If we draw, and I'll just skip this part, previous resistance, or you know what, I'll try and keep it. I'll put it at a high level though. So if anything, it's starting to look like this, right? Let me just draw it like this. It's starting to look like this level where you ignore part of this top wick and you draw previous resistance like this and you find support here. And then you say, hey, well, this little shoulder over here couldn't even break down to this level. This broke down to this level, but these other areas can't drop any lower. And it's even got like a little support line right underneath it here. And so this is screaming that SoFi might want to go up soon. And I don't know. We're seeing that definitely on the MACD. You can see how we're getting this divergence towards the upside that goes back a ways, right? November of 2023. That's a long time. And then if we go back even further here, I don't know. I would probably just keep it right here. But then you have this breakdown in the RSI where it's went even lower than expected. But you got to realize SoFi is a growing company that is down 77% from their high, even though I don't own the options anymore for 2025 because I didn't think it was worth putting money into them because I didn't think they'd ever come back, or at least the risk of them not coming back was bad. I put that money into ARKG 2026 calls and I put it into PayPal 2026 and just other things that, DLO 2026 that I thought could provide a better asymmetric return. This thing, if it keeps staying down here near the .382 in the 6 range for a while, then there's growing benefit to those 2026 calls. Maybe June 2026 would be the best option. That's kind of what I'm thinking, or maybe just January. I don't know, but I'll look at those as that comes around. If I get interested in this, I'll let you guys know, and I will keep an eye on it. Square is the same thing. Square's gotten beat up pretty good, down 2.36%. Square is down It's just crazy with all the positive things they're doing. 78% from its high, and that time frame is 1,246 days. So I think there's a massive upside here too. I'm going to be looking at options again. SoFi and Square are some of the ones I'm getting more interested in. Still applying probably the bulk of the money towards like an ArcG, maybe a DLO, PayPal, but these two are getting more enticing in my opinion. So I'm going to be looking at them too. Let's see here. What else we got? ArcG, real quick. Again, just this falling pattern. It's like a bull flag, right? A bull flag over a very long period of time. When you look right here, and let's say we draw this to here, it just screams that it wants to break higher. We've got this bullish divergence that goes back to 2022, where we've got higher lows on the RSI for ArcG. 2022, 2022, 2022, 2022. That's a long fucking time. It's a long time to have bullish divergence and be down 80% from your high. If I'm right about us getting into, and assets under management are only 1.23 billion. So if I'm right and we get more risk on, I could see genomics plays becoming a big part of that. And these guys, that ArcG is literally a bunch of genomic plays, and the options is a multiplier to that, and the options look good. So I'm excited about that. And then Flux, like I said earlier, it was up 9%, it looks like, on the day. After hours, pretty flat. This thing has a ways to go, but it's a small cap. I expect good things to come from it. And then DLO, I'll just look. I do think somebody said, hey, maybe this is finding a bottom. I do think that's true. And again, I did buy some today, some options. Some of the options might not do shit, but I don't know. It closed up almost 5%, including after hours. It's only a 2.49 billion. And this thing has dropped a lot from where it was, and even in August of 2023 when it was at $24 a share. So this thing, if it jumps 200% like I think it can, or even 300% like I think it can, I actually think it can go to here. I think it can close this gap before it rejects. I know that's a stupid fucking number, but I would make a lot off of the options plays that I have. So I might add more to it in the future. That's all I'm saying. All right, let me go back through chat, and I'll start getting caught up. I'm sorry for falling behind, guys. Somebody wanted to see Meta. Let's look at Meta. Meta's been great. It's just been too great. I made 500-600% off of Meta too. I think it was like $250,000 in 2023. But the actual stock is not far from that. The actual stock, so I made that off of calls, is up 500% now, and it dropped 2%. I've been saying this for a while. I actually think there is limited upside on Meta. I actually think that your upside, let's say between now and the end of the year, is maybe 35%, because I think you're going to see some strong resistance at this previous level, going all the way back to 2017. I think you're going to see strong resistance at that level. So if you got another 35% and somehow we get up to like 700 by near the end of the year, I would get the fuck out. I would get the fuck out personally, because it'll be like a $1.75 trillion company. Not that they can't do well, but I just don't think. I think Meta's a dying company. I hate to say that because they still have such a strong social media presence. But I just look at Facebook and I don't see as many people that were on there now as there used to be liking posts. Not just mine, everybody's. And Insta's still doing good. And again, they got a huge market share. It's like we're 4 billion. I can't remember the number. It's huge. But I just think you're looking at limited upside potential with this company. And that turns it into dead money to me. Even though they have a lot of money, they got a great net income. If we look at financials real quick here, we should do that, just to be fair, and to provide better insights. And again, if you guys could if you're here still for the almost 300, thank you. But just look at active users. This isn't really going. Let's go to yearly here. So one could argue that we're still doing all right. We're still doing all right on active on daily active users and monthly active users. But I think it's starting, again, profitability on Reality Labs. And I made the opposite case when I bought the dip, right? When I bought it in the 80s. I made the opposite case. In the 80s, how long ago was that? What are we at right now? 530. So the 80s was a very long time ago. But I made the argument about how, they're kind of working through stuff. But look at last quarter with Reality Labs. They lost $874 million, almost $1 billion on Reality Labs. Their net income looks like it's topping at about $12 billion. And again, this isn't horrible. This forward PE is only like 26. It's not horrible. This could still do well. I just don't, you're not going to be looking at the potential that you have with like a Tesla, that you have in the future with Palantir, that you have with PayPal, that you have with RG, that you have with all these other companies that can just give you multiples and multiples of returns, especially if done correctly, through things like calls or whatever. So I don't know. I just think it's getting toppy. That's my take. All right, GCT, please, from Jason. Yeah, I don't know if I know that one, actually. I'm going to make a copy because I don't think I have it. What was it? GCT. Let's add this and look and see what it is. I do like you guys bringing up potential candidates for, lots of returns in the future. This is interesting. It looks like it could be finding support, but if it's breaking down, it could break down to 23. So a decent drop, just at a glance. It looks like, to me, it's going to roll over and at least go to like the 23, 24 range. That would be my guess without even knowing anything about this company. Now, let's look at the financials. They have done all right, though, right? Like they were in 2022, they were at $4. Now they're at 31. So you're seeing like a 9x return inside of this fucker. That isn't bad at all. But let's just look here. This is Giga Cloud technology. Now, do the finances represent the increase? Oh, it's got a forward PE of less than 10. That's actually pretty shocking. It's a low number. Estimates look good. Increases in EPS and revenue. What are the insiders doing? They started selling. Not huge amounts, but some. Institutional ownership is pretty good. Short interest is increasing. Why is short interest at 17%? It's almost like there's something here we're not seeing. Oh, it's the debt load. Look at their debt. They've got positive cash flow, but they have a lot of debt. Is this a Chinese stock? Oh yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I don't know. There's something not good here. It's under. If it's China, then it's probably fucked. Maybe as a SaaS, it won't be. But I would expect this to roll over more than anything. I would think 24 is inbound. And if it's Chinese, I wouldn't fucking touch it. Nick Lanza, Nike. I've heard a lot of people talking about Nike lately. I think they plummeted off the face of the earth, and so everybody's like, buy the fuck dip. Now, sometimes the dippity dip can keep dipping. And that's kind of what we've seen here, right? Lots of dip. You could get, if you like dip, if you're a lover of dip, then you're getting some fine dip here. Because you got like a 25% drop in this bitch in a very short period of time. So you got all your dip needs right here at Nike. Let's look at their financials. Using my favorite tool, visualstocks.com, for my buddy Alejandro, who is a stud. Good guy, doesn't pay me shit to say this, but I just promote it because it's a great platform. All right, revenue growth year over year, negative 2%. Forward PE is 24. That is rich for a shoe company that's in retail at a time when I worry about retail and competition from overseas in China. They can build some shoes, guys. Shoes are not hard to replicate. If they can build a fucking EV and steal technology from everybody to make their cars as nice as they possibly can, through these, sharing programs where you have a partner in China and basically they steal all your proprietary intellectual property and then recreate it. They didn't do that with Tesla, probably why they're struggling. They have stolen technology software from Tesla and then probably redistributed it from a bunch of different car companies, which gives them a very Tesla look. You can see with their interfaces, it's such a ripoff. Anyway, but shoes can be stolen and produced a lot cheaper in China. So I worry here. I don't see growth at all. Even if I look at yearly, Nike footwear revenue, you can see there was some, but again, I worry. I worry because I see 4 years of net income just kind of stalling out. I worry because I see revenues that aren't much higher than they were 4 years ago. And this could be a buyback story, but look, their operating expenses are going up. And it's just, where is the growth? I think where is the growth becomes the problem here. Let's see if their revenue estimates don't show growth. They don't show increased EPS. We had some people buying in Q3 of 2023, insiders. Nothing really since then. Institutional ownership is dropping. I just don't see the growth here. And when you stop growing, you're dying, man. So I don't know. I think the shave it took was probably justified. Sally Vang. Ooh, first off, a lady. Love that. Would love to see more ladies coming on to here and learning about finance. You are very, very welcome. She says, hi, Jesse. Can you take a look at Amazon? I can. Amazon's probably a pretty good bet. Amazon has so much money. Amazon has so much money. They embrace technology and innovation. They do have potential problems. Like if you look here, when sales started to really drop around the world and we were having problems in China and everywhere else, you could see Amazon took a hit, man. 2021, 2022, their net income was almost gone. But we're seeing revenue growth year over year of 13%, and they've definitely had an uptick since 2022, 2023. So, but they benefited from that too. If you look at their stock, it's done really well. Let's look at what estimates are first, though. Again, revenue's still going up and up and up and up. It's crazy to think that they could have a $188 billion quarter. That's crazy. That's what they're projecting for the end of the year. And EPS estimates still look good. So let's look at the actual stock. I think Amazon is still going to be a good buy. That might be something, if they get really crushed, like at the end of all this, in the next year plus, when I'm hoping $20 to $30 million that I'll have in my portfolio in the next year and a half. If I get to that level, I'm going to have a lot of cash by that time. I'm going to have a lot of Tesla by that time, Palantir, maybe Anduril, and others. And I'll still have Bitcoin, but I'll probably be out of the proxies, all the proxies, and just holding my long-term stash. But man, if Amazon takes a hit because sales start to drop because we start to see the economy rolling over, this will be when I start to DCA into, because I think there's a lot of money to be made. And I say that because you could see the threat of a rollover in the economy to Amazon, because they went from $200 almost a share, dropped 57% over the course from July 2021 to December of 2022. So first off, I might short Amazon a year from now. That's probably where I'll start. I'll put it in as a short, maybe right before I think the economy is starting to roll over and before people are starting to get really smart. I'll probably buy a couple of shares for shorts, probably 2-year leaps. And I'll be looking for 50% drops for targeting, probably maybe something like around the $100 range. But I think that could do really well, and then I could convert that into stock. I think once we start to reach the top up here. So that's probably what I'm going to try and do. Let me see here. Hey, I want to continue. If you guys can wait a second, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry. It's the truth. Give me 1 second here. If you want to stick around, I'll come back for more. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Don't go anywhere. Just got to put my headset on. All right, here we go. Let's put you back onto default view. Boo. All right, thank you for waiting. I appreciate it. When you drink as much coffee and water as I do, you have to go to the bathroom a lot. All right, let me see here. Pete, SMH. You inspired me to seek out asymmetric bets. I love that, Pete. So in a sector that's booming and not slowing down, why wouldn't this tech ETF continue upwards? $400 strike. You say SMH 12-month return is over 100%. I just need it to do a fraction of that. So here's what I worry about, Pete. I will pull this up, okay? Now, when I say asymmetric bets, I'm talking about, when I talk about those, I'm usually talking about ones where the value I believe to be really depressed and that have not run. Now, oh, 1 second here. Now, SMH, if it's done really well, it's kind of the opposite of that, right? Let me see if I have this one. It sounds familiar. Nope, I guess I don't. All right, let me just bookmark. Here's my worry, though. So if this thing's been running like a banshee, right? If it's just been kicking ass, then what's the upside? There's no upside because people have been buying into the calls for a very long time. So that's my worry on this one. And this is the semiconductor ETF. Now, can they do good for a while? Maybe. Could they double? Yes. Is there an asymmetric bet? I won't argue that it's not possible. I hate how slow this is today. Let me do this one more time. See if I can get it in there. All right, we'll let this one try and run. But my worry is that, oh, Jesus Christ, this is such a pain in the ass. I don't know why I don't think this is actually, oh, there we go. This isn't actually me. I think it's TradingView today. But here's my problem, dude. Here's my problem, is that you're looking for asymmetric bets off of things that have already done them. It's executed its asymmetric bet. And here's what I'm saying by that, Pete. We're up in this fund 230% since October of 2022. That is a win, bro. That is a win. That is what you wanted. Arguably, is even here in October of, like, if you would have came to me 8 months ago, saying, "Hey, I think that this is a great opportunity, and should I look at this asymmetric bet?" I bet you that it looked great. I bet you the options chain looked sick, and it was probably a 10x multiplier to the underlying when we were down here, even at the 140 range. Or if you came in October of 2022, a year and a half ago, at the $82 range, the opportunity here was probably a no-brainer, especially with calls. You would have made a shit ton of money, right? If it went up 228%, maybe you made 1,000% or more, 1,500%, depending even with leaps, 2-year leaps. But I don't look for things that have went up 230% and then expect them to go higher. That's just not the way I do asymmetric betting. Could you get 100% increase off of this? It's possible, dude. I don't know if it's probable, though. And I think there's a lot of other people that have already looked at this and made that bet. And they're going to want to sell at some point. So that's my thought process on that. So I love the idea of looking for asymmetric bets, but I would encourage you to maybe look at ones that haven't occurred yet, or that have less downside risk. And again, I could be wrong. This thing could go up 100%. I just don't like jumping onto things that are already up a shit ton. It's not my style. Maybe it's yours. I don't know. It could work out too. I just do me. There's a ton of ways to make money in investing. I like my way. It gave me 700% last year. I think I'll still get 100% plus this year. And when I'm getting 3-digit returns each year, I kind of love that. And here's the thing. I don't know if I've shown this. I might have showed it last time. I don't fucking know. I don't remember. Anyway, here's what I wanted to show you. It's somewhere in here. Cool moments on Twitter. Okay, maybe it's this one. Maybe it's, I like the memes. I like it when Elon says, I like it when people create board games. Anyway, here we go. So I'm sticking by this. I think this is actually going to happen. I think I could have my low for 2025 be 6.5 million, but this is my low balances for each year going back to 2019. I actually really started to get back into investing in 2017, but I bought a bunch of Bitcoin miners. I don't include all of that, but I basically start where I was at my worst in 2019, where I really just leveraged down and said, now is the time. This is my moment in the sand where I'm going to really devote myself towards investing. And then, a year later, I ended up retiring in 2020 with $375,000 on my balance sheet. But here's what I wanted to show you. So again, my returns last year, this is my low, was 1.92 million. I'm sitting at just a little under 3 million right now, 2.9 something. And I've had a high of 3.3 million. But if you look at this, if you look at the compounding rate of growth that I've had consistently since 2019, when I was negative 46,000 and levered down and really invested hard, if I do get 6.5 million, and let's say let's say 2026, my low is 20 or 15 million, I think after a while you establish that you're pretty good at what you're doing. And that's what I think I've done and what I'm continuing to try and do. And I'm hoping other people can come along for the ride. Some have not. Some have fallen off. I hate it when people fall off. But I hope they fall off into something where they do really good. And maybe it's investing. Maybe it's just a different way. Anyway, that was my point, is I think my way is best. Everybody thinks their way is best. Not all the time. There's sometimes where it's not. There's sometimes where there's other people that will perform better. But I think because of my asymmetric bets, it gives me just wicked returns when I do well. And if you got a bunch of those in different directions, I think it's really good risk management too. So I think the risk to reward basis, I'm really fucking good at this. Disease Kodak. Jesse, will you hold any Tesla? Okay, we talked about that. Moving on. People said they couldn't hear me, then they could. BT, can you explain the tightening wedge? Okay, I did that with SoFi. Drew S, if you have any good place asymmetric trades, what would it be? I already talked about that. Let's scroll down. Thanks for the stream. Okay, Frankie Casey says PayPal and its Solana agreement. Why important impact on PayPal? I don't know which thing you're referencing. Just you're talking about the stable coin, I'm assuming. The fact that there is a stable coin with on the Solana network. PYUSD maybe, or I don't know if you're talking about something else. If you got something else, please throw it out there and let me know. Oh, Derek, Tesla calls have allowed me to buy a Model 3 and my portfolio to 2.5x since buying them at 145 to 170. Derek, that is kick-ass, bro. I bought my Cybertruck with gains too, and I bought my Model Y with gains from Tesla. The company's treated me really great. I think it makes sense to buy the product. A, you get to see what it's like and really understand how great it is, which helps your conviction. And then you get a thumbs up when you do that. And then B, with that strong conviction, again, I think it's important to reward the company too for the money that it makes you. And I think it's just a win-win. So I highly encourage people to make a bunch of money off of fucking Tesla and then buy their products. Let me see here. Appreciate you, Derek. Sees Kodak makes sense. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Buying a house comes next. Yep. Buy a house. Buy a house. Not looking for great returns, but maybe a little bit of diversification and knowing that we're probably going to be printing money again for years. I do think it's sustainable potentially. So you could benefit. So it's good diversification, and it's another. I look at it as another revenue stream because. If you're getting, let's say across the United States, an average return of roughly 8% a year for years now, if you average it out on real estate, and you've got, let's say, $1 million worth of real estate, and you're making 80 or 8%, you're making $80,000 a year in additional equity. So that's like a revenue stream to me, right? Like that, I would call it a revenue stream. So I think that is not a bad idea, and you get to live in it. Just don't. Just remember that you're just keeping up with the rate of inflation because of that 8% that you're getting. It keeps up with the money printing going burr. I still don't think they're the best investments out there. I think Bitcoin and Tesla will be. BT, is rolling an options play ever a good move? People say, I'm going to roll over, or are you going to roll over? All that means is just selling your shit and buying stuff that's further out. Is it ever a good idea? Maybe. I mean, I sold all my SoFi 2025s because I thought they literally weren't going to pay out. And I thought the risk of me losing the rest of the money, it was roughly like almost $60,000, was worth it to where it was enough money where I was like, I should just liquidate this position. I don't believe in it anymore over this time frame. And I'll put it into other things that I believe provide more opportunity over longer time frames. I locked in $330,000 in losses from that though. But at the same time, I was like, it's worth it to say the 60 and put it into other things that can give me 10Xs. So sometimes it's worth it, but it's not really a thing. People talk about rolling it over like you click a fucking button and you've rolled over. You're selling your existing shit and buying stuff further out. That's all it means. Jesus Coronado says, what is your long call on BTC? What is my long call? Are you just talking about like Target? I think that it depends. I think the 180 range is the bottom. Let me see. I've got market longs. I got to see how I have this anymore. It's been so long. I've got Bitcoin CME gaps versus inflation. Ah, shit. Which one is it? I got a chart in here I need to find. Across exchanges, market cap. I don't even know where this is anymore. Oh, Bitstamp, long-term trends. Okay. This is my oldie but a goodie. Or it should be. Let me see here. Oh, maybe it isn't. I'll have to find my good chart. I've got a long-term chart that uses Bitstamp. Oh, maybe this is it. No, it's just not showing everything. That looks like a clusterfuck. Yeah, this doesn't have all my good stuff in it, but my target is roughly around 180,000, and it goes up to, I'd say, 500,000. And I want to be 100% out of proxies, which is like miners and altcoins, by roughly that 180,000 mark. Let me see here real quick. What do you think could be a catalyst for markets to go off of? All right, let me look for the rest. So Albert says, hey, Jesse, what do you think could be a catalyst for markets to go off? Do you mean up? Unexpected rate cut in July, something else? If we get a rate cut in July, I think they go up even more. I think they go up even more, though, for all the other reasons I was giving. EPS is going up. The sky isn't falling. We're looking at greater liquidity. Global liquidity is, I believe, the key driver of the financial markets. So it's really fucking important. And I think it's underlooked. And I think people like Michael Howell, I would highly encourage more people to listen to Michael Howell and cross-border capital and understand global liquidity, because I think that's how you're going to get rich. All right, let's just look here real quick. I got to pull this up. Covered my window. Thoughts on BITX from DeFi Activated. What is BITX? I don't even remember. I think, is it Biddy, the short one? God, I want to look at that. In the future, too. Jumping topic here real quickly to Biddy. Yeah, I think this is the short one, right? Yeah, okay. So I think this one's going to continue to plummet. But in the future, Biddy, this short strategy, I think will be a fun play when we've reached the top. Because again, if I can short companies like Amazon, maybe like a Starbucks play again, because they do really horrible when the markets are rolling over. Maybe like Best Buy dying for once. I don't know, just some plays where they're not so obvious and crowded trades, but you could start to step into them and make some money on a potential downfall in the economy. By 2026 is roughly when I'm expecting, maybe late 2025. That could be cool. And so this pays a dividend, and it's got some, it degrades a little bit because of time, because it is a short and it's a leverage play. But I think this one, you could make a lot of money, maybe double, triple your money. And especially if you're doing an options play off of it, if they have it. I haven't looked, but this could be fun. This could be like a good making a multiplier while the market is dropping, and hedging against like what you're maybe holding in Bitcoin too. So this is going to be a fun one for me. I can't wait to figure out what I do for a play. Anyway, that wasn't your question. Yours was BITX, and I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to look it up here. BITX. It's the Volatility Shares Trust 2x Bitcoin Strategy ETF. It's been a little painful. This could be, this is like options, right? So I would say that this thing is pretty degraded in value, and that it probably is a decent buy. And if Bitcoin just goes back to its previous high right in the 70s, you can double your money. So I don't think it's a horrible idea. Again, you just have to realize that time degrades the value. But if we go up, like let's say we go up in the next couple of months to the 70Ks again, this thing can double. You can make 100% on your returns. So not a bad play in my opinion. I think it could do just fine. Maybe I'll pick some up too. I'm already all deep into the miners. Yeah, maybe I'll look at BITX. Maybe I'll look at BITX just as another way to get a decent multiplier without having to. What did this do from down here? It was at $9 and it went to 60. So you get 6x returns off of Bitcoin going from 15 to the 70s. So you're getting like, I don't know, it's kind of like a MicroStrategy and the rate of return. All right. Pete said, thank God for the ocean in between us and the jihadist culture that Europe is burdened with. Just tough to watch. Yeah, I don't think all Muslims are bad by any means, but I think if you have a bunch of people that believe in a completely different society than what you believe in, and they're multiplying at a greater rate than what you're multiplying because your society is getting a lot older, that it can be destructive, or it can help break down your society and maybe make it more dangerous as you get people pitting against each other because they're so different. You want people to assimilate into your society. You don't want your society to change if you like the way that you've been living. You don't want it to change too much, too radically over a short period of time. So I think that, I don't know, that's the way I look at it. But I also don't think you can like just label everybody as terrorists or all this other shit that people like to do where they just broadly describe all people the same way, no matter who they are. It's fucking stupid. You just have to realize the risk, though, and that in some cases there could be some truth. Les Walter, container costs from China to East Coast of U.S. has gone from $2,700 to $20,000 in less than a month. Yeah, container costs continue to go up, and I think it's because we're seeing slower container traffic. Again, the U.S. government and some other Western governments around the world are starting to really slow down and inspect trade from China, looking for things like fentanyl, looking for things like tariff avoidance. So you're right. I'm seeing that too. I should get that on my list and bring it up for maybe Wednesday, when I do another market recap, because it's very interesting looking at the shipping container fees going up. But I don't think it's going up just for what a lot of people think it is going up for. It's not. It's because of how tough we're being on China. Now, I think I'm done, guys. I think this is it. I think we're going to call it. Sorry if I wasn't keeping up too much with chat today. But hopefully you got some valuable information out of this, and we can go into more depth later. If I missed anything that you were asking for, just get in the chat earlier when I spin it up. I did a bad job of spinning it up today. Tomorrow or Monday or Wednesday, I'll try and do it earlier in the day so that you can jump in there and put in your requests. But otherwise, you guys have a great day, and I hope you make a ton of money. I'm very excited to what's to come. And I hope you guys are too, and I hope you do really good this year and next year. I think anybody who is paying attention will. Anyway, love you guys. Peace out. Bye. Oh, let's go out on a good note here too. Here's a good one. We'll do this one. This is what you guys should be doing with Bitcoin.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. People love the pump. Yeah. Got them lining up. Wow. See us winning, FOMO in and YOLO by the top. Dream of Lamborghini. Girlfriend in bikini. Front covered Forbes magazines where you'll see me. Oh, what? How? Price went down. Who will save us now? Felt like a hero. Now the fear is here and it's clear it's steering to zero. Yeah. Hands weak, bags heavy, and I'm ready to forget about already all the hopes and the dreams. So puke your position like mom spaghetti. I'm hungry and got long cash on the ready to just buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying. Yeah. When they tell you their investment conviction is dying. Oh no. But the market's dead. Yeah. That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up. Guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend to the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and split. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip.